Welcome to the Oregon Fly Fishing Blog. Tony here today to tie a jigged pheasant tail nymph with a flashback and a little CDC hackle. I have a TMCO C400BL size 12 in the vise with a, I think it's a 5/32, 5/32 slotted copper tungsten bead. And we're going to start out by putting 4 wraps of .020 lead on there. Just cinch this right up against the bead, and if you do it correctly, the bead will come forward and stand up as I have it here. Next, I'm going to get my thread started with a little Vivas here and just bring it right up through your lead and get that secured. And then bring it back to the bend of the hook. I'm going to create a tail of pheasant, and what you do is you just pull the strand straight out and away from the stem here, and then cut them off. That way that aligns the tips. Want your tail about the length of the shank, or the body, roughly. Sometimes I'll tie them a little bit shorter, but that's the usual process. Next, we will tie in some brassy copper wire, ultra wire. And the final step is to tie in some pheasant tail by the tips, and usually I snip off the very fine tips and align that. And I want to start this up on the body, so I keep my up on the thorax area, so I can keep my body symmetry. And then I will wrap this around the shank to create an abdomen. And I'm going to bring it right up into the thorax, because I'll end up covering that up, and I don't want any gaps, so that's kind of a way to avoid that. As long as you don't want to, if you're not worried about having a little bulkier thorax, which I'm not. And then I'll counter wrap the wire to kind of protect these delicate fibers. And then I'll just twist off my wire. Next we'll tie in, I'm going to flip this over and tie in some mylar. And this is just a large pearl mylar for the wing case. I'm just going to lay that in there and get that set. Thread slid. Okay, here we go. Lining it up with the tip of the point of the hook. So that when I pull it forward, it's right in the center. And then I'll take that back out of the way and get it in my material clip or somewhere back out of the way. And then I will tie in some rusty brown CDC. Turn this over. Curve side down, so it curves towards the hook, because I'm going to tie this right in the center or a little bit back on the thorax. This material is a little long for a regular hackle. It cover the entire fly. So I'm going to do this a little ways back and then push it forward. So I'll show you that here. We're just going to start in this area about mid-thorax and take a few turns in that area, laying the stem one next to another. Wrap back right up against that and get it secured in there. And then I will pull this material forward, which is a little bit to handle sometimes, and you can moisten it. You've got your wing case setting in there, so I'm just going to stroke these fibers until I get them where I want them, all in one bunch, and then put a loose wrap around, another loose wrap, and then pull them tight. And you will have a few stragglers. You can just come in and snip them out. You can see I've got a gap right in here, so what I'll do is, because those fibers are still kind of able to be moved until I really get them cinched, and then what I'll do is pull these forward, and the really long ones, I'll just even them up with my thumbnail. And you could do that from the beginning, but I don't want a bunch of really short stock. I want some taper to the leg so that it moves and it looks semi-natural. If you go through and break off all the fibers, then it can look like a wet mop, and that's not really what we're going for. Finally, I'm going to put some peacock in for the thorax. I use 4 strands by the tip. I'm going to create a dubbing loop. This is just how I've always done my peacock. That way I can create a chenille out of it, and it just makes the fly latch last that much longer, excuse me. And then I just bring that around and twist it with a pair of hackle pliers. I'm going to take it right up behind that CDC, secure it, get a couple more securing wraps, trying to keep it all in the same spot. I'm going to trim that off, and then I will get one more wrap in there, just make sure that's all locked in, and then I'll bring these fibers all back, wrap in front. Use your thumbnail to kind of move them around if they've bunched up again on you. Bring your wing case over, slide your fingers in here and pull everything back. One loose wrap, lift your wing case, pull down on your thread, and that'll bring it down tight. One more wrap, pull it back, securing wrap over it, and then finish off your fly. Just need to trim the mylar. One little snip on one side, and you can just pull it and break it off. A couple whip finishes. And there you have your CDC Jigged Pheasant Tail Nymph. Flashback Pheasant Tail Nymph. Hey, thanks for watching, and have a great day.